Good morning. Can I get some good mornings out here, please? Good morning. Thank you very much. I know it's a Sunday morning, and all of us had Saturday nights, late Saturday nights, so the energy would be low. So let's bring in some energy through two very diverse businesses, one in the tech space and one in multiple franchising space. So my name is Malloy Chakravarti and I'm a business coach, and I'm today going to wear two hats. I'm going to wear the hat of a moderator but also as a business coach to dig deep into finding out what makes these two gentlemen tick, right? So let's start off with Pulkit.
Yeah.
Yep. Pulkit, you come in from a tech background, and
Yes.
the basic conversations that we were having before the session is that you come from a tech background. You worked for a large global MNC,
Yes, absolutely.
right? And then something happened to you, and you went into that entrepreneurship bug. So tell us something about your journey.
Okay. Thank you so much, Malay. So, good morning, everyone. It's being a pleasure to have a word with you at the Bharat Startup Summit in front of the like-minded peoples like of you. Why I'm saying that? Because everybody of us have taken the hard path to start a startup and then to sustain it. We are now having a habit of building it, then failing, then fixing, and then again building it. So that's why let me introduce myself. I am the co-founder of. My name is Pulkit Jain. I am the co-founder of Inside Geek Solutions Private Limited. We are providing three solutions in the market. One is TracoBit, which is the fleet management system. It's more focused upon the tracking and tracing and all kind of a daily operation optimizations of the vehicles. Then second one is the TracoField, which is in a field force automation system. And the third one, which is TracoMile, it is all about the AI-driven last mile delivery solution. Okay, so here we are more focused upon our second product, which is TracoField, the field force automation system. Or in an easy way, you can say that it's a ground reality software. Or to be more precise, if you people are, suppose you people are a field manager, so our system will act like a lifeline for you to manage your distributed workforces across the globe, anywhere where they were roaming in the market, or for either for the sales, for the support, or any kind of a let's suppose the installments and all these kind of services. So right now, when I used to work for, as Malay said, I used to work for Samsung as a R&D developer. Similarly, at that particular time, I went out for different countries across the globe, like South Korea, Poland, and different verticals of the where the Samsung is already present in US and all. So at that moment, I noticed that the adoption of the technology over there is so high in terms of what we are facing over here in India. So that's why we at that particular time we started this discuss with my co-founder that yes, we have to create something for our Indian ecosystem as well. And obviously, this is the reason why we have created that, because we found out that the workforce distribution and how the things are being moving around in the Indian subdomain is, first of all, very chaotic, fragmented, and obviously not that much of in an organized way. That's why we found out that we can raise the full potential over here with the adoption of such a technological enablement. And this is why this session is all about the tech enablement of that how the tech is being enabling to become to you guys, that the franchisee and the franchisee owners to come from the regional franchisee to the national level and then the international level. So this is why we have started this one.
Thank you so much, Pulkit. We'll come back to your journey and what you do, and
Yeah, definitely.
and what is the change that you're trying to bring into society. But let me jump on to Shikhar. Again, a very similarity. You work for a large organization in India. Safety net, नौकरी छोड़ने की कोई ज़रूरत था नहीं. Right? I think all of us have come from that same space, but then that bug hit us, and you went into franchising. And franchising, while it's a very lucrative business on the face of it, has its own set of challenges.
Sure.
Right? So tell us some before we get into the successes of franchising, tell us some of the pain points and the failures that you went through in this journey of franchising, which is not easy.
So,
And if you could also tell us about your organization.
Sure. So, thank you for having me here. It's a great honor to be here, sitting and sharing my thoughts with people. To answer your question, yes, I think the pain points of franchising business is it's capital intensive. So it goes as a if you're starting something, and coming for us, as I can speak for myself and my partners here, uh, came from a job, never did business. So, all the life savings, the parents will ask you the questions, the family will ask you the questions: are we doing the right thing? Are we not doing the right thing? Why are we doing this? How soon do we think can we replace our respective salaries, etc., etc.? So, all those internal questions, internal fights, and then you go out in the market. And then when we go out in the market, as saying, what are the brands that we choose? I mean, a lot of brands. What are the sectors? Before the brands, I think, what are the sectors that we choose? uh, and then every sector has their own pros and cons, uh, challenges. I mean, we've done multiple mistakes before we could probably find a little bit of our success stories. When we came out of job, we saw that, I mean, both of us, me and my partner especially, today we can probably, just laugh about it. We thought that anything we could do, we would probably turn it into gold. And that's where the reality hit us and said, okay, we've made a wrong choice. This is the first mistake that we've done. We've chosen a wrong brand.
Yeah.
We've chosen a wrong sector. So we went into. We thought our first business was a pharmacy franchise. Uh, no clue what pharmacy works, no science background, nothing. But like I said, we thought that we could do everything, and we were the few ones who closed the pharmacy business in the middle of COVID,
Wow.
where the only thing that was selling was medicines. But we closed it down.
I agree.
And then we also simultaneously we entered into the food space. So again, we chose a wrong brand, a wrong category, but at least we had a belief that the sector that we have chosen is something which is correct. We would like to advance into this sector, and we got into the journey of Lapinos. We opened our first store, and within 3 months, we got an opportunity to become the master franchise of the city of Delhi, and we just grabbed it with both hands. Where we got multiple channels of making money. There was a distribution opportunity. There was appointing franchise opportunity, and then there was royalty incomes. So all three were working very well for us, and that's where we thought that we could probably go very deep into this and build a career. And after 3 years of Lapino's journey, when we entered the brand, this brand was about 4 stores in the city. Today it's about 37 stores in the city and about 2 under fit out. So I would say, give or take, about 40 stores that we're currently looking at. 13 of us which are owned by my partners and myself, and the balance are franchised across. And then we thought that probably, okay, now we need to diversify, because as a franchisee we are resting all our eggs in one basket, and hence we need to move forward. And we went, because we came from fashion retail background, we thought that maybe jewelry was a category that interested us. It's safer, it's not a very fast growth, but it's a category that will go on for probably generations. We had our links in Tata, which is the pioneer in this category. So we took one store of Carrot Lane, and then with our performance we could probably get the second store of Carrot Lane. In today's date, we run about 2 stores of Carrot Lane, one in Gurgaon and one in Faridabad. That also happened about, 2 years, and probably 6 months down the line, again we realized that now this has also come to an autopilot. Now what is the next journey that we look at? And we wanted to be in the food space. We could understand the nuances of a food space business, and we launched our own brand by the name of Sambar Ritual, which is a South Indian brand, fine dine. I would not say very luxury fine dine, but a sort of a bridge to luxury fine dine restaurant in Gurgaon, and we plan to scale up the brand to another level.
Oh, fantastic! Because I so relate to what you just said at the beginning of your conversation. When in 2017, I decided to quit my 26 years of professional career and jump into entrepreneurship through the franchise. I acquired the Action Coach brand subsequently. My mother had only one question: खाने को मिलेगा ना? Right? नौकरी छोड़ दिया तो खाने को मिलेगा. And the first couple of years was very tough. The only thing I used to hear at home was किसने बोला था नौकरी छोड़ने के लिए, सब तो ठीक ठाक चल रहा था. Right? So Pulkit, what is the change that you're driving? Because you're in a space which is not very understood very clearly.
Okay.
Right? It's a tech. इनका जैसा पिज्जा हमको समझ में आता है पिज्जा क्या होता है, right? And I was just watching the stock exchanges. I think Jubilant FoodWorks has gone through the roof as far as the share prices are concerned, and which happens every year during IPL, I guess, right? Because people consume a lot of pizza during their IPL. But what is the change that you're trying to bring in? What is that why of your business?
Okay. But first of all, moving forward this question, I would like to answer my story part of that, that why I left my job, and at that particular part, what's my parents and my family's reaction over there, because it's very interesting. When I quitted my job in 2018, a well-paid job over there in Samsung. So I recently got married over there at that time. और similarly उस टाइम पे मेरी वाइफ के पास भी मैंने यही बात बोली कि इतना है मेरा सेविंग एंड वी हैव टू कीप इट फॉर एटलीस्ट 1 or 1.5 years. So it's very interesting over there that how not only I am living this particular startup journey over there, my wife is also with my co-founder as well. My wife is living the same journey. So that's very you can say supportive from my wife's side as well. So
What is that why of your business?
yes, absolutely. So why of my business is, first of all, I will like to align you with the vision of us. So we are aligned with the vision of not only us, but with the technical vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi as well, for the particular purpose of Viksit Bharat 2047. So we want to achieve that particular 6 trillion economy of the our nation, and that's why we are also being a part of it. We are building from India, but not only for India, but for all of the globe. We are already present in 44 countries right now. We are providing the services of our Tracobit and Tracofield, and this Tracomile part is from in different countries across the globe. So on the product perspective, we are right now having so much data with us, and that data is being driven. That the data is being driven with the help of whatever we are getting from last 10 almost the 10 years part from this all of our 3 softwares, and this is the main reason that we are able to inculcate the actual revolutionize the workforce potential of this particular segment, and creating the transparency layer between the franchisee and the HQ. There are shortcomings about what exactly the problem area which the franchisee or you can say the franchisee owner or a franchisor is facing as of about this particular market. We want to tackle all those kind of things.
Okay. And why should a customer buy from you?
As I already answered about it, that because we are providing 3 products in our kitty, and that's why our data is so highly enriched. See, the major problem which I found it over this particular period of time when we are providing the services in the market is that the major problem of the franchisee owners are, the first one is as I mentioned, the transparency layer between both of them to have on a same page. Then the quality maintenance, the stabilization of the quality across the whole of the franchisee, which is a very important over there. And third one is the compliances, that kind of a things that what the franchisee want to franchisor want for their franchises to be obeyed. So we are providing all these 3 with the help of one thing is that the stock monitoring, the stock wastages and that part of a thing that is being inculcated with the help of the enablement of Tracofield and Tracobit combined. We are tracking the assets as well as the all of their field force, whatever the task and or kind of their you can say the appointment or their beat planning, whole of their month's beat plan in advance, then the route optimization of them, and what's the exactly they people are doing over there, their proof of deliveries and all, These all things comes under the same roof, and you don't want to and majorly that we are new in the market. That's why we are so aggressive that we can integrate with all of the existing systems, whether the HRMS or the CRM or ERP, any kind of a system it is being utilized by that particular franchisee. We are directly being able to integrate with them to act like because what we believe that not every time we have to create the whole of the wheel by our own. More focus upon our technological partner is to that wheel is being revolving or not. So this is the main focus of us, that why we have choose for the integration in that part of a part rather than developing all the things by our own.
So this is a question to both of you, and I would want you to take it forward, Shikhar. How difficult is it for a professional without any entrepreneurial background, and especially if you've been in the tech side of the business like Pulkit has been, and for like you and me, we have been more at the business side rather than an entrepreneurial side. How easy or difficult it is to make the transition into from an employee of a large organization? Because I'm sure a lot of people, whether they're here or what later when they see this video, they would want to know how easy it is for somebody to just quit a large scale organization employment and put that cap of an entrepreneur without having any entrepreneurial background in the family.
So, I mean, very interesting question. I must say that I can't probably put a scale of how easy or difficult it is, but I can answer it in two parts. One, I would say is first is why are we wanting to do this, and do we have the belief system that okay, we want to change from a high scale corporate high paying job, and there's nothing wrong in it. Why do you want to wear the entrepreneur hat? Why is that question? And everybody has their own situations, and everybody has their own priorities in life, I would say. So each to his own, there is no right or wrong answer here. So why do we want to do it? Do we believe that we can do it? I can just briefly answer for myself. As when I was probably trying to take this decision, what was I banking on? I was banking on that I'm getting into a partnership with like-minded people that I have been comfortable working for the last 15 odd years at that point of time, and that's a fairly long gestation period to understand somebody, find comfort with somebody to work with. Second, from a financial point of view, what is my worth today? How much money can I actually lose without having a regret, or a big regret saying, I've done a blunder in life? I mean, this is the money that I can probably lose, and that's my first starting point as to after getting, do I need to get into entrepreneurship, and what is the money that I'm trying to lose? So like he said that, he had a very candid discussion with his life partner, and I'm sure that happens in a lot of families. It happened in my family, saying, this is what we have today on the table, and this is the money that we can probably lose, and we'll live with it. So I think that's the starting point of how easy or how difficult it is. And I don't think that's one decision of whether you want to enter the business. I think over the period of 7 years of now being into entrepreneurship, I realize that how do we cope up with 2 or 3 months where the business is not giving the money that we are expecting, and probably even making a loss which has to be funded from inside. I mean, that's
inside or outside
your house, and that is probably an even more tougher part, because then the expectations are set. It's almost like saying, I'm getting 100 rupees of salary, but suddenly my salary has been slashed to 20 rupees, and it's a very uncomfortable situation to be in a job as well. So we also feel, okay, should we start looking out? Is the company going through a bad phase, etc., etc.? We all have those questions as a self-employed, as a corporate employee. So those are questions that hold true for our own enterprise as well. it's nothing different. I mean, we've been working with large organizations, large people. I mean, I can talk about Reliance, and it's the richest man in the country that we're talking about, etc., etc. So he's built something which is far more higher than what we have done today. But the questions remain the same.
So, did you at any point in time feel like quitting and going back into employment?
No, thankfully, by the grace of God, till now, no. But
If till now it's no, I don't think it will ever happen.
well,
Because
yes,
it typically happens in the first 3 years.
yes, it does, and you know, it till now the journey has been so. Like I said, probably for me, like I was talking in the financial budget, how much money can I lose, and that by the grace of God did not touch that mark where you know we could lose that much money. So there was always the safety net which kept going. So probably that made life simpler.
I think you made two very valid points. One is that purpose, that why, and anybody who's watching this, and I'm sure you've read this book by Simon Sinek, Start with the Why. If you're able to address that why, then a lot of 50% of the problems are already solved. It's only when you don't have that why. And second is, I remember an interview that I was watching of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, late Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, the market maverick. He says, if you're investing in market, and if in the first 3 years you have not lost money, you're doing something wrong. Because if you are a engineer, you would have invested money in education. If you're a doctor, you would have invested money in your medical studies. In stock market, you also need to pay a fee to learn, right? So there will always be a downside for anything that you're doing,
Yes.
right? So there will have to be some kind of a number that we all need to set up in our mind, that ye paisa mera ja sakta hai, because that's my learning fee that I'm giving into entrepreneurship, right?
And sorry to add, but just those are very expensive mistakes that we made.
Those are very
very expensive mistakes that we make. So,
Absolutely, and especially coming in from a professional career where we're slightly risk averse. When you're working for a Samsung or a Reliance or for a GE and other stuff, we're not that risk taker. So वहाँ थोड़ा भी loss हो गया, it hits you very badly. Pulkit, you have been a techie,
Yes.
right? And I make this statement to a lot of my clients in my business coaching journey that a good product with bad sales and marketing is a failure. An average product with great sales and marketing is a success story,
Absolutely.
right? But as a techie, we keep on focusing on the product rather than building a business. So how easy or difficult
Very interesting question. So, because it's directly related to what I have learned by switching my shoes from the techie, as Mulai said, that only from the techie to the entrepreneur. Because earlier, while we are developing for Samsung or any other organization, so at that time we are feeling like that if we are developing something as a developer, ये तो hit है. But at the time when we step in the shoes of the whole of the system, that what we are developing, we have to market it, we have to sell it, we have to give the after sale support of this particular product. Then we have realized that the development is only the 33% of the solution. Then comes the marketing. Marketing is also having a very rich importance upon that. If you are not able to make your product being available to every eyes, then you are not doing that much kind of a thing that what you have been developing. And obviously the sales and the after sales support is the rest of the 33% of that. So I guess I'm able to answer your particular query upon this particular part.
So this was something that we were discussing before we met you. We were discussing, there's something that I read, and he reiterated that there's something called as a dark GDP.
Dark GDP, yes.
Right? A lot of people are still not addressed in this economy through the business models and the support systems. You have any views on the dark GDP?
Yes, absolutely. According to our analytical reports, that the 57% of the whole of you can say the GDP is being contributed with the only 33% of the population, which is being sitting and working inside the office. But only 1.5% of GDP, which is very you can say very less in numbers as comparative to the 57%, that is comprised for the rest of the 67%. So you can imagine that this latent GDP, which is still hidden from many of us, So that's why, and obviously this latent GDP is known as the dark GDP in other words as well. So that's why we, as I mentioned, that we develop these kind of products in a SaaS base. And why the SaaS base? Because the owing a particular thing is very expensive in terms of that. Obviously, some of the high end national like we are discussing about the Reliance and all. So these companies can afford the development cost of all the things by their own. But what about the regional franchisees who are just leveraging their businesses, and they have to manage the cost, because cost optimization is a very important factor upon that. And in any kind of a SaaS based industry, the two things are very important to be keep in mind. One is the optimization in any terms, whether it is the you can say the optimization of cost, optimization of any kind of a productivity costing, the wastage or these kind of a thing. And second one is the automation, because without achieving the automation part, the entire journey of thinking about or dreaming about that, yes, we can achieve that particular goal which we have targeted in our mind without these kind of tools, it's nothing like that anybody can able to achieve manually. So this latent GDP part is very interestingly asked by Molay, and we have specifically focused upon this particular part to boost the productivity and the and reduce the this operational cost, and enhance the by utilizing our particular software. Anybody can able to smartly, or you can say smarter, faster and efficiently take the data driven decisions to boost up their productivity.
Shikhar, you have been on both sides, right? One, when you invested in a franchise, right? Now you're setting up your franchise, your own business, which I'm sure you're looking at franchising as a growth,
Absolutely.
right? What are some of the key success factors that you look at when you invest in a friend? Obviously, you made your own mistakes, and there has been a learning during that journey, right? What are some of the key success parameters or key success factors that you look at when you? I'm sure you, if you get an opportunity today, you will again invest in a franchising, right? What are those some of the factors that you look at?
So, like we were discussing before we walked in, one of the things that we've learned here is that we enter a business by a very huge set of debate as to why are we wanting to enter this business. What are we looking? What is our at least, even if it's a vague 10-year across the line journey with this brand? If everything falls into place, what do we want to achieve with this brand? And how scalable is the category, and how scalable are we as our own company? How much can we go, and how big can we make it for ourselves to, kind of work with a franchise? Or, I mean, today we can probably use our experience to weed out some of the franchise where the opportunity could be 1 or 2 stores, and we'll probably stay away from it. Because we are also into partnership. We have also got total of 4 of us who have got our 4 different set of thought processes. Why are we doing this? And the business has to be scalable to be relevant for all 4 of us. Versus maybe if I was doing it individually, maybe it was more, I would look at it more from a point of view, how much more can I manage? What is my financial background? What is my thoughts? What is my goal, etc. Versus what is a common forum goal, and what is that we are trying to achieve even at 10 years from now.
So let me just deep dive into that question. The 2 gentlemen sitting out here, for example, they are both pitching to you to invest in their businesses as an investor, right? What are some of the factors, if you hear from either one of them, put you off?
Well, when I can share some of my experiences when we are probably looking at 2 parts. I will answer this one. One is when we are looking at giving somebody a Lapinos franchise versus when we went across the table to get a Carrot Lane franchise. Very different set of experiences. Carrot Lane was almost like I walked into the NASA office. Where, so they didn't bother of how much wealth did we have. They were just not bothered. I mean, they don't care. So what were they caring for? They were caring for what are the kind of people that they're working for, why should a store be given to them, vis-a-vis what are the other people like us who were there in the market also willing to take a Carrot Lane franchise. Why were they betting on us? What is the history? What is, I mean, they asked, I mean, I can say probably it took us 4 months to get into their decision making person's table.
4 months to get into that stage.
Yeah, and
So the due diligence was so very stringent.
and even when we had passed the so-called rounds of meeting, etc., then there was this financial check with the external auditor of DNB, and then that had a different, and then they were only, as an auditor, then they were only looking at financials and to say whether we are worth it, not worth it, how we keeping our books, how clean is it, etc. So one of the things that I learned was that they're looking at franchise people who are working partners and not pure investors, I would say. That was something very important. They checked us on, they had various ways of checking us on our ethical backgrounds. And I still remember they had asked me for a salary slip of 2015, which was a really difficult task for me to achieve because I had changed jobs also and go back to previous employer, etc. But I guess what I learned from that is they were going that deep to know what kind of a person I was and how ethical I was on the form that I had filled, whether my salary slip was matching. And it's 2015, even with all due respect, a human error is possible, a memory error is possible, but they were very conscious. So now post that, when we started meeting people in the Lapinos fraternity where we were offering franchise, we were very clear with them saying there's a lot of hard work. If you are one of those who would feel, okay, take my money, give me a fixed ROI, this is not the brand for you. You guys have to work. You guys have, I mean, we can guide you with all the principles that we have, all the experience that we have. But at the end of the day, it's your hard-earned money. If you are not caring about it, then definitely we are not the ones who are going to care about it. So you care about your money, you are wanting to enter this space. And that's the kind of franchise partners that we now started getting post our experience with working with a big organization like Tata.
Yeah, I think at some point in time you move away from the desperation sector of wanting to appoint anybody just to grow the business, right? And that's where the hard work from our end comes in, because we face the similar situation when coaches come to us and say, okay, I've invested money, now get me business, right? Now my job is not to give them business.
Yes.
My job is to give them, so they have to generate their own business. We are subsidizing their investment into an entrepreneurship, right?
Okay.
So you come with an employee mindset, then it becomes very difficult. Pulkit, you are in that space where one, it's difficult to communicate, right? What is that 2030 drive, if I can ask you, that is driving you towards getting up every single morning and saying, okay, let's run?
Okay, so I would like to answer on the basis of the franchisors whom I already taking our services. So the basic questions, or you can say the basic set of the things which has been asked by any of the franchisor while onboarding us, that how much do you being in a numbers, you can say in the theory of a number, that how much the increase in our operational efficiencies you can build with the help of the integration of your system. How much is the reduction in the idle time, or you can say the wastage of the time, where in the unproductive time, you can say we can achieve with the help of your system. Or you can say the number of time which is being you can say the stock impairment, the waste of the stock we can able to achieve. So these kind of things, if we are able to achieve this particular segment, all these problems can be resolved by 2030 with the help of all our enablement with and every kind of our business which we are targeting upon over here and across the globe. So this is the main thing which we want to achieve in till the time 2030.
Okay. Same question to you, Shikhar. What is your 2030 vision? Where do you see yourself and your business? Are you going to that stage? Are you reaching that stage where you say enough is enough? Now I have built what I have done and it's time to now take some rest, or is there a 2030 vision that you and your partners are driving towards?
No, there's definitely a vision. We're not wanting to say that we've kind of reached where we wanted to reach, but yes, one of the boxes that we've ticked recently is that we wanted to develop something of our own, moving from a franchise business, moving from a retail background to probably try and set up a brand of our own which has its own journey. So I think if over the next 5 years we would like to probably bloat that up to whatever level that it can possibly achieve, and also in the meanwhile continue to grow the franchise business, because that's sort of, I would say that's sort of our fixed bread and butter sort of an income, where we know that this is a more, okay, this is more capital intensive, but this is safer as an option, and we can continue to explore more and more options of working with maybe 1 or 2 brands more, or maybe taking the existing brands into a different level for ourselves.
What else is on your plate, if you would want to divulge?
So we'll like to stick into the food space is something that we've realized, and hence Sambar Ritual, and probably maybe conquer one cuisine and then move to another cuisine. Maybe.
When do we see a Bengali cuisine? Because a Bengali, partial Bengali and a full Bengali sitting across you. So when do we see a Bengali cuisine coming up?
Well, it will be a difficult one for me to answer and give a timeline for it, but you never know.
You never
say never in
You
business.
never say never in business. Pulkit, where do we see yourself in 10 years from today?
From 10 years from today.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Is this the only business that you're going to do, or is there something else that is on the
no,
on the,
we are
on the
already
anvil?
we are already being aligned with our business, that this Tracobit, Tracofield and Tracomile, you can able to see that if we are nowadays, if you want to buy this particular domain, it is not impossible, because now we are very popular in the market. So these kind of domains are not available. So we are already being aligned with the vision of us, which we have created in 2021. These are only the 3 products till now we have launched, but there are more products on the same line which still need to be unveiled, and I didn't want to discuss about the more upon that particular part, which we are, because on every technological company there are some kind of a R&D which we are doing in the background. We are a geospatial company, and we will focus upon only the geospatial analysis and this kind of a part. That's why all the products are aligned on a geospatial lines. And I guess no, we will not do any another kind of a business apart from this in next. The 10 years is so advanced to see. I am not able to see that much, but yes, of course, in the recent time we are not we are totally aligned with our particular products.
Last question to both of you is, both of you have left a cushy job in large organizations
Yes.
and decided to move into entrepreneurship, and both of you are decently successful. What is that one single message that you would want to leave for people who are dissatisfied but still continuing in their own employment because they don't want to move into something else, something different? One single message. Like we agreed that working for somebody else is not something wrong, right? If that is a purpose of life, please go ahead and do it. But there are people, tech professionals, and I'm sure you know people, I know of people, because I've been teaching for last 20 odd years, that people are dissatisfied. They just want to get into entrepreneurship, but it's something holding them back. So one single message that you would want to leave behind, Shikhar, for them.
One single message would be take a risk. Take a risk, take a calculated gamble, know your strengths, but the least you can lose, or the max that you can lose, is probably your little bit of your corpus, which you can rebuild. Have that faith, and the time that you would have probably invested in setting up an enterprise or running an enterprise. If you feel after a few years that the enterprise is not working for us or not working for you, you're more than happy to go back, take that risk in life, have that leap of faith on yourself, take a calculated gamble and take the risk, I would say.
Thank you so much, Shikhar. Last
For answering this particular question, I would like to copy the tagline of a very, very huge franchisor, the Nike. Just do it.
Thank Thank you very much. The tagline that I use is, it is difficult to live with regret, easy to live with failure.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
right.
So please don't have regret in your life. Do what you want to do in life. Have some purpose in life. And that 4-letter word starting with a letter F. Don't misunderstand me, please. 4-letter word starting with the word F is what holds us back, and that is called as fear. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.